I always give a bit of time to help other people, that they can phone me or text me or with WhatsApp to help them. And giving back, whenever I work with somebody, depending who it is and the time I have, I do have the elements that I give them, that they can have unlimited consultancy or a bit of mentoring that will help their business and structuring. But I would definitely like to do it more. The reason I don't do it on a long-term basis is I know I wouldn't be a good candidate, and I would want to do it properly. It's just because of my health. I don't know what the next month. So if I do it, I'd do it quite short term. But I do believe in mentoring, because I know, my God, I need to put you on the stock exchange for my business, or give you shares, because, you know, I would not be sitting there if it wasn't for you.
So what, I know I feel strange asking this question, but you know why we're doing this. What does mentoring, how has it made a difference to you? How has my involvement in your life?
I can't talk about other people, because I see things a bit different with mentoring. But if I did a rule book and how I would mentor other people, the first thing is no judgment. No judgment on their flaws, no judgment on their weaknesses, because for me, that's not going to work. If you were very judgmental with me and kept telling me the things I'm not doing wrong, things I'm doing wrong or how I'm doing it, it's not going to work. And there's a way to talk to your mentee. So when you're trying to bring me up on something, if we're working on a project, you have a way that you've learned me as a person. So you know how to communicate to me, so I understand, and where I've gone wrong. Because, well, this is another conversation. You know, we talked about the cash flow, and it's not something that happened overnight. I think it took us almost 2 years for me to get it right. And you have to have somebody that's patient, because what I respect from you, and if you're looking for a mentor, they've got to respect and see the things you're good at and uplift you. And maybe that might be me relating back to school, and I never had that. So because you do always tell me what I'm good at, and then it's balanced with what I'm not good at, I'm okay with that. But what you do, which helps me, is you also have to have a mentor who does tell you what you're good at and reminds you, because there are so many things I do that you really congratulate me on. And I even remember once at a speaking engagement, you said that you learnt something from me, and I just felt so honoured. I was like, did I? And so it helps me be more confident in my work, that I am good at what I do. That's really important, because that's what you want to mentor. You want to mentor to really know your weaknesses, to help you build them up. But not all weaknesses may need to be built up, but the ones that are necessary. But also a mentor that recognises what you're good at. And I think that's important, because you know what, you may want to run a business, but you might not be good at it. And you need an honest person to actually tell you, well, you're not really that good at it. And we have very beautiful, honest questions, and you'll let me know. You know, you'll be like, okay, yeah, you're good. Oh, don't do that just yet. And that guidance and direction is needed. And like one other thing that I do want to share, I hope I don't get too teared up. I remember, and you made a good question, at what point did I know I was going to be a networking guru? We had a conversation. I think we had a mentor day, something. I can't remember. And we had definitely worked together. It was about 3 years. And my networking entrepreneurship was going through the roof. I was even in New York at this time. And you always sense my mood. You were a bit like, oh, what's the matter with you? And I was like, oh, Barnaby, I'm working so hard. I've got this project. I just want to be successful. And I was just feeling so down. And then this is you. you are successful. And I was like, what do you mean? And then you kind of reminded me all the things, and you said, like, the talent you have in networking, not a lot of people can do. Like, you've done this, you've done well, and you need that to keep going. Because I think at that point I was about to give up.
Yeah, because and I get that, and I think one of the advantages as a mentor is you get to see from the outside. Whereas when you're on the inside, it can be a bit cloudy and you can't really see it. It's, and I get that. And it is. I think that is an important role. So, okay, so from the mentoring, you're getting that external reminder of.
And the person has to know who you are, because
do you think that's true? So, does it take? I mean, that would take some time to get to know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you think, therefore? You should approach mentoring as a kind of a more long-term thing than a short-term.
I was going to say absolutely, because I think if I went to somebody else and said, I want you to be my mentor, and then we were going through that success thing, they may not have seen that. However, I will say this. I know how I met you and how we grew, and I decided I want you to be my mentor.
Yeah.
I encourage the number one tool you should use to find a mentor is networking.
Okay.
Right? And also, I do not feel coronavirus is happening. How am I going to find a mentor networking? Coronavirus, you can still network. This is actually the best time to networking. My networking is much even better now, and I'm a guru, than before Corona. This time now to find, I'm going to do an article on a blog, to find a mentor now is better. And I'll give this one point why. There are so many businesses and companies that are booming right now. They're not having a problem in the world. They don't even know Corona's happening. Yeah. And those are the people you need to go to, because they've gone through other coronavirus times to get where they have, and right now they're happy to be mentors. And the reason why networking is important is because when I met you, I was analysing you and asking you networking criteria questions, like the Father Christmas, to make sure.
Yeah. See if I was real. Yeah. Yeah, because you want a shortcut to whether somebody's genuine or not, or whether they're just,
And networking is the best way. I mean, word of mouth, yes. And it's a relationship as well,
So, I mean, you're my longest mentee by far. And I've got some that go on for years, but not as long as you. Did you ever imagine that we would be sitting here a decade later still working together, Had that been...
I did not know if you gave me time, how long, no.
Yeah.
But what I did know is after the years, and I started to understand business better.
Yeah.
And that transition, running a business, working a business. What I did know is, which is happening now, is I knew that I would sit down and you would see the rewards and the time and your investments as a mentor to see the successes. I definitely knew that I'd be able to come out of this shining and the cake, to say, here's the cake. Okay. But what's been great in our experience is I can actually say, here's a cake and a muffin, because the muffin bit, and some of the muffins, and me being a mental health speaker, who would have ever...
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's like the muffin.
Yeah, absolutely. Very much so, yeah. It's completely
and that's your investment. That's your flour, that's your butter, the sugar, your help that got me here. Do you know what I mean? So definitely.
Yeah. So I'd put it slightly different. I think you're the butter, the flour, and the sugar and everything. I'm just the recipe. And actually, what we've done is we've mixed that up and turned it into
I think I might be the flour of my mental health sometimes, because I sink, the cake sinks and then it might rise.
Cool, okay, cool. So, okay. So you're very positive about mentoring. Do you think everyone should have a mentor?
Absolutely. And I talk about this. I will promote this to the cows come home, because the greats of this world, even if you look at Tony Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, they have a mentor, and some of them have more than one mentor. And there's a very good documentary, because sometimes I'm not good at reading because of my mental health. Yeah. But if you listen to the documentary or read the article about Serena Williams, if you go back and look at the history, the moment she started to win all of those tournaments is when she hired a mentor.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's an article on it.
As opposed to a coach.
A coach, mentor, call it what you want, but somebody else that's accountable, guiding you.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, cool. I've felt very comfortable in the role, only because my style is I'm like a court jester. I don't know if you know the history of a court jester, but a court jester was the only person that could make jokes about the king. And that's what a court jester was. And so they had a really important role in the court in the times of in the olden days, because people used to get the court jester to suggest strategies to the king, because they were the only people that could address the king and say, you really shouldn't do that, you should do this, and they do it through a song or something like that. Yeah. So people would use them, and actually, if you read King Lear's all about the jester.
They still do that today. So the royal family, Parliament, there's always that one person who
has a kind of a mentoring thing. So
yes. No, and to be honest, I didn't know it's called that, but I'm aware of that, and that's been going on since centuries.
It is. I mean, the jester's become the person that tells the jokes and everything, but actually the real role of the jester is to challenge the king when nobody else, and that the king selected their jester to say, you can challenge me.
I totally agree with it, because I did remember a documentary about the Tower of London and the king that was there, and he had that. So
No, absolutely. So okay, cool, brilliant. I'm not sure about this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway because it's on the list. If you could change one thing to accelerate the pace of change for gender equality, what would it be? So, we've talked about this so many times. It's kind of one of those questions.
I didn't know that was on the list.
It's on the list, and I'm thinking,
God.
Do you know what?
This is how my mind thinks.
Yeah.
Because I'm so not into that, I don't even remember the question you've just asked me.
And you know me, I'm really engaged.
So you're going to have to break that question down. What do they mean? Like...
Okay, so okay. Do you think we live in a world where people are treated equally, irrespective of where they come from?
No. Yeah. And if I could change anything in this world, because I'm such a non-judgmental person, I'm so about equalism, and maybe that's the bipolar in me and judgment on mental health. I wish, and this goes for gay, straight, blue, pink, orange, I wish something could happen, even if it was like the corona of a wave that wiped everything out and we could all be treated equal. Honestly, I just wish, like networking, I block it out, but I just wish sometimes every one of us could just walk through that door and we're just treated equally from the moment we open our mouths. And I've had so much like discrimination, like people will look at me, no matter, I dress well, that's just me, I dress well, heels, whatever, and I know they judge me, but I've built such an elephant, the skin, and the moment I open my mouth and I say, look at this world, when you talk and I talk, the only thing that comes out your mouth is words, and you actually can't discriminate or judge or have this equal thing about words because they're almost just like paper. So the moment I open my mouth, they start respecting me. because they can hear I've got intelligence and I can talk like them and we can have a conversation. And that's the only thing I don't like about networking, because the moment I walk in the room, and this happens all the time, as a networking guru, can you imagine I go to networking events twice a day, so how many in a week? So loads. The moment I can tell you how many rooms with my badge I've walked in, they judge me. But the moment I open my mouth and I talk and have that conversation, because I can have a conversation with you, oh, I'm okay. And then everything's all right. And I wish that I wouldn't be judged. And the other thing is, that's why I don't like wearing a badge. You notice, if go to the badges and somebody's badge isn't there, they get so upset. I'm happy, because then they can't judge me. Because the other thing that they do is judgment. And because my name carries so much better than networking guru, I'll go somewhere and they might see my face. And as soon as I get closer and they see my badge, the networking guru, oh, you're the networking guru. Oh, da, 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 da. Oh, we must meet up for coffee. But if I didn't have my badge,
yeah, okay,
you wouldn't want to talk to me. So if that question means, do I want everything to be equal, and do I think the world is not equal? It absolutely is not equal. Will it ever change? I don't think so. Whether you're a female, black, white, it will never change, because I know this is a networking guru. This thing about knowledge and power and money, the more knowledge you might have and connections can get you up the ladder. And a ladder is there for a reason. Up, down, up, down. You're always going to have some business that's up, down, up on the top of the ladder, and you're always going to have some businesses that are the bottom of the ladder. And if you're a startup and then you grow up the ladder and get lots of investment and then go up to stock exchange, you're going to be have a lot of power, connections, so you can get what you want because who you are. But the journey there can be very discriminating, because the fight to get there, and I don't think we should have that fight. If I want to get to the top of the ladder, we should get there if we're women, men, gay, blue, orange, and that's the wish I have.
Okay, so summarise that from what you've just said, and I understand what you're saying. You would prefer a world where people listen first and look second, rather than look first and listen second.
Absolutely, and I preach that with networking.
Yeah, and actually what you should be doing is listening to the person you're speaking to, and understanding where they come from rather than what they are or who they are.
Don't judge on aesthetics.
Yeah.
Judge on who they are, and if you want to take it further than that, what relationship you can have, their
values. You should be judging people on their values. Not
by who they. Oh, because you're female. Oh. Because you're black, you've walked in. Oh.
Do you think? We're in this space. Do you think equality is even the right word? Because I
personally don't think the word.
Because
it
actually,
is.
Life can never be equal, can it?
No, it would, and that's the thing. This is
impossible.
what.
I mean, the beauty of being an individual is that you are not equal to anybody else. That's
absolutely. This is why sometimes I don't like having this conversation, because the word equal has a very interesting definition, and maybe I'm a realist. Maybe that's the bipolar me, because I've got bipolar for life. There's nothing I can do. So the word equalism. To me, I don't think we will ever. We could.
Well, one assumes you don't want everybody to have bipolar. So
no, I don't want everybody to have bipolar. But I just think that because I've accepted that, and when I look at equalism I don't think we can ever be equal. And so this is why, for me, this is personal for me. I'll have to change up the question, whatever. With the female fight, I want to get on the board because there are 2 females and 8 men. I want to get on the board. Could be all female. I can't understand and never fan that fight. What it should be is the 8 men, I've got the same knowledge, experience. I can be just as powerful. Listen to how I can elevate the board. Let me have the seat. Yeah. Don't fight, let me have the seat. Because I'm a female
Yeah. So you're looking for meritocracy rather than anything. Yeah, and I think for me, my mantra, and you know my view on this whole thing as well, but I think it's always been about respecting individuals, whoever or whatever they are, wherever they come from, is to show respect for that. And for me, I want to live in a world where everybody respects everybody else.
Respect. And so the other thing that's really hard...
That's equal. I'm not worried about equal.
It's respect. It is respect. And so this is the other thing, okay. I have different views and I can't have this conversation with him. When I went to that networking event, they keep saying, oh, there's not a lot of people, there's no blacks in networking events. I know black people in my community do not like networking, not just because of the skill. It's because they don't see other black people at networking events and they feel nervous and they're the odd ones out. So that's why they don't go. When I went to that networking event in 2008 in the recession, Oxo Tower, when that man tapped my shoulder, I was the only black person in that networking event.
Yeah.
It took me... I've been a networking giver twice, It took me maybe 2.5 years. Maybe there may have been 1 or 2 before. But it really took me 2.5 years to really start seeing black people at networking events.
Yeah, sure. And I think that's part of the change.
And so the other point of the matter I'd like to put, this is why the equalism, I don't, and respect, So this is the next thing that I don't like is, okay, statistics will show an event of 50 people, maybe 10 people are black. So, okay, let's do equalism, whatever it's called. I can't even pronounce the thing because it's not in my mind. Let's be equality. Let's. It's like I heard today. Okay, let's the fund managers decide. Let's do an investment and give 20,000 for networking events to bring black people. So I feel I won't go because I'll feel. Oh, so you're only inviting me because I'm black?
You're one of the numbers.
Hold on. You're not inviting me because of my knowledge. I may know
what I contribute.
I know entrepreneurship. I know a bit of marketing. I don't just know network. So you just want me to be there because I'm black. So that means you don't care who I am, my values. So that's what I don't agree with. It should be. We're inviting. Oh, Bella, we hear that you're very good at A, B, and C. We'd like you to contribute, not because I'm black. So how can we have a word of equality if we keep judging by aesthetics?
It's about value. It's about respecting you as a person. It's about listening to what you're about rather than what where you come from, what your skills are, all that sort of thing. I agree with that, and I think do you know what? The moment you adopt that view, everybody becomes equal because everybody knows something you don't know, which makes them equal to you because. And whoever they are, they know something you don't know because they're leading a different life. So they will see things.
And I don't think that's like that. The reason is we can never be equal that's the wonderful thing about world. Some of us got different intellects, intelligent values, and we can learn from each other. Somebody else has got an apple, they don't have you learn. This person and we share and we grow. And unfortunately, maybe this is the bit where we were talking about risk and stuff. That's where I can take the emotions out because unfortunately, when it comes to the world of business, and this is what we're talking about, business careers, every company, every blue chip, you're going to have somebody that's going to be more powerful than others. There's going to have more connections. And I know networking. That's one of the reasons I do.
That's maybe because they're good at it or they want it.
And not everybody can be good at it.
And then by that very nature, they're going to become unequal because they're going to pursue what they're good at.
Exactly. Like, I might be a networking guru, but I know, as I got my list, there's a lot of people I respect who are not networking gurus. They have got an incredible... They're connected like there's nobody's business. And they are powerful because of those connections. Like, there's a chap... I won't say his name, I'll bring it back. He's even written this book. He's never attended a networking event in his life. His book is I Never Eat Lunch Alone. He built his high-level network by going to lunch with somebody every day.
Yeah. And now he's so large he can't leave the house. Yeah, I can see that. Anyway.
That's a good one.
I am now dieting alone in his next book.
So you know that shows that you can be powerful in other ways, and so I can learn.
Everybody is powerful, whether they're a mother, whether they're a
Thank
father,
you.
whether they go out to work, whether they're...
So we can never be equal. We can never be, but we can learn to respect each other and treat each other the same. So if you want to be on that board...
Listen to what everybody has to listen
Thank
first.
you.
Don't judge by the way people look. I agree. It's hard.
Because I remember, you know this lady, I'm not going to say her name. I remember she's a networking event organizer. Then she did do a bit of networking.
Mm-hmm.
She would do her events, which were very high profile. And you know who I'm talking about? It's behind Selfridges, Portman Square, at that membership club.
Oh, yeah.
She would come into the room, swan into the room with these Christian Louboutin 9-inch.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest things, I watched her all night. I thought, what can I learn? But one of the things I did learn, by the end of the night, she took these shoes off and she's walking because she couldn't cope with them. That was the joke.
Yeah.
But the way she would swan over and the man...
I can't remember who that is or picture it either. So
you do know who it is, Barnaby. And you hosted one of her dinners at the club.
Oh, yes. So
yeah.
I do.
So she would swan it, and you know how she was so ideal. She got all the guys wrapped around her little finger because she's very petite as well.
Yeah.
So she would swan it, and the way darling, I wish I could say it. Oh God, my business might have been, who knows, flipping. I'll be networking with the guy in Russia, like she'll be darling, and all the men wrapped, and she had all these senior people because she knew how to play the game. Right? Yeah. And I would look at her, and I remember when I was in New York, somebody said to me, Bella, you know you got it going on, you should use it a bit more, like the accent, you always dress nice, you should use it. And I wish I could just be like that woman, because I couldn't use that.
She's got a backstory that's similar.
Yeah, I remember you telling me. But what I can use to build my network and to be powerful. So we have both become powerful, but how we got there is different. And this is the respect thing. So I've done it maybe with my intelligence and other ways, and she's done it with that femininity using female.
No, I think you've done it through your energy and your enthusiasm and your ability to network with everybody.
So I can't do it through aesthetic. It would never work.
No, I mean, you could, but you don't. If you sort of mean, yeah, and I get that.
I wouldn't be able to. Like one day, who was it? I was talking to someone about this. Oh, you should use feminine. And I thought I was going to an event and I looked in my wardrobe to see if there was a low cut one, to get what do they say, the ladies out?
The ladies out. I've not heard that phrase.
Yeah, the ladies out. So I was looking through my dresses, and you know what?
You must have, but you've been married, so surely you must have been.
I would use that in different ways, but not like for that. And the funny thing was, because my mindset's not like that, none of my dresses are like that exposed, which was the funny. I sat there laughing, but I guess that's how it is. There's the difference of what you can use.
So, okay, listen. So, what if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self? So looking back now, and you're still young, so this is a hard question. If you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, so what would you say to her? She walks in the room, and she's probably a bit at sea, and you want to just say, look, it's going to be okay. What would you say? What would you say to them?
I would say to my younger self, probably pace yourself more.
Yeah.
As much as I'm always fighting for more energy to get things done, pace yourself more, because tomorrow is possible to continue working or so on. Don't try to fight to get everything done in one day. That's what I would say. Do not fight yourself to get everything done in one day.
So is that about breaking big goals down into mini goals and mini goals into tiny
Absolutely.
goals? Absolutely. And go from goal to goal, and then it's what makes the boat go faster.
So to extend on that, I would say to myself, don't always, because I learnt this too late because of my goal-orientated nature. And I'm a very dream catcher. I do ensure I achieve.
You're all in, aren't you?
I do achieve any dream or thought, and this is the help with bipolar. Any dream or thought I think of, it will happen because I make it happen. So I would tell myself as well, don't think about doing everything in one day. Make a goal into mini goals. So some are not mistakes. Some of the things I could have done better is I do have the big goal, but a big goal, the same saying, Rome is not built in one day. A big goal cannot be achieved in one day. And it's ever so tiring.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
No matter how many coffees you drink.
I think Bob Hope once said, who's a famous American comedian, he said it took me 20 years on one show to become an overnight success. And, because he did one show and then everybody saw him, but it'd taken him 20 years treading the boards. And if you read all the stories, there's always everybody looks at Dyson and think he's really successful and etc. But if you read his biography, he spent 20 years in the garbage shed trying to make it work. You look at even people like Richard Branson, they've got a long track. They just forget that history.
Absolutely, there's a history.
Can be an overnight success.
Absolutely, and it's so funny because I did do this podcast episode talking about this, where it's not overnight success, and I'm sure you know this. That's saying about the 10,000 hours to be an expert.
Yeah, you've got to keep going, but each step. I prefer what makes the boat go faster. So in other words, somebody asked, I think it was Matthew Pinson or the other Redgrave, how did they win 4 gold medals at 4 separate Olympics doing rowing? And when he was getting quite old because it's arduous. And he said it's very simple. He said every day we would sit down and say, what one thing today would make the boat go faster?
Yes, I love that.
And then they do that for the day, and if it made the boat go faster, they would keep it.
Yes.
If it didn't, they'd abandon it. And then the next day they said, and we just did that for 4 years. And when we got to the Olympics, we were the fastest boat.
Yes.
Because all we ever did was do and I think that, I really love that concept.
I love that
every
too.
Day doing something a little bit better than yesterday, a little bit better than yesterday. And look back a month, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 10 years. And, you and I, the way we work together has always been about what makes the boat go faster, in my mind, whether you've seen it that way, because we've sat and we've just gradually done, do this, do that, touch that, blah, blah. And the Bella I see today is so entirely different to the one that I met.
We do have jokes about this, don't we? We'll be like, even I make the joke, I'll be like, can you believe it's really me? Like, I'll be like, sometimes I don't believe it's me. I remember, do you remember when I was like this? Like, it's crazy.
I don't, I need to be reminded, of course, because I don't really remember, but I do, when we talk about it, I go, okay, gosh, it is amazing.
It really is. And I think one of the things, I don't remember what year this was,
God.
But you said something to me and it made me just like a flash. And I was like, wow. You said to me, you know, in your own way, you said, like, Bella, you know, you've done so well. Sometimes I'm mesmerised because you've got your mental health illness. Obviously, you're black in the industry, you're female, and you've been able to do this. And he said,
Yeah.
and you said, like, that's amazing that you've
It is.
still, and you've still kept going. That tenacity.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that tenacity is really, really, really key. And I think I wonder whether the tenacity is about the goal, the right level of goal setting that just goes, I'm going to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, because you achieve each goal and then you achieve another
Absolutely.
goal.
And I think
another goal. And you know, I've been through you getting grants to get to New York, and then you've gone to New York. You've flipping well turned up at the airport and not been able to fly. You then suddenly flown and you've got no accommodation.
And then end up in first class.
And I'm expecting a phone call from any moment going, well, you know, help, I'm
The
lost.
tenacity.
You know, and that is tenacity.
Yeah, that's one thing. You know? I wish, and I wouldn't sell it, I wish I could put that in a box, that tenacity, and sell it, because I don't need to get paid for that. The pleasure and happiness to see other people that can do it. Because it was you that, I didn't really know what it was called. You used to say, you just keep going. You just keep going. And it is that word tenacity. Because no matter how ill I've been, and you've seen when I've been ill.
I have, yeah.
Right,
even physically and mentally.
And when I've even tried to maybe have a meeting or talk to you, and I'm not there, or you haven't heard from me, but I still keep going and going and going. And even when I was slightly ill, but I still wanted to do it, I said, I'm going to New York, because I always take my networking guru and speaker very seriously, and I had to go and research the industry because things were changing. Google was coming, SEO, networking was changing. I said, you must have thought I was crazy. I said to you, Barnaby,
I've never thought anything else.
I'm going to New York, and I'm going for a month, and I'm going on a research program, because New York are the #1 country to have relationships, and they are great at networking. I would like to know how they do it. I'm going to speak to the best of the best, learn.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, how are you going to get? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And do you remember? I don't even remember. I cut out the UPS sign and put it on my fridge.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I said, I'm going. I had no idea how, where.
No, I do remember. Listen, you've had boyfriends over there. You've had it's just crazy.
And I even remember I was doing a pitch. And those were the days of Skype.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Everything was going well with this pitch. And I don't know what happened with my laptop or Skype, what I set up. And I wasn't even panicking. I said, I'll get this sorted, the tenacity. So I don't even know if the time difference was all right. I just rang you up and you came up on the screen, right?
I did. I know, and you said, I need you to make this work. And I'm sitting there going, the hell? I'm just about to start networking with, I'm in this law firm and I'm doing this thing, and I'm sitting there going, okay. And then he went, thanks, bye. And on again. And it's like, what are we doing? I do remember that.
And then
I didn't know what you were doing, where you were.
That was so funny. And then I came back and I said, right, that's it. I said as well, I'm going to extend to going to intellectual property. And then that was always the behind system that not even a lot of people know about. That was
No, it's fantastic.
That New York thing is like...
Okay, so what's your and I think the one piece of advice you should give your younger self is to define what tenacity is to give them the
oh, that would be hard.
Well, just say, look, actually what you've got to do is you've got to recognise that to get on in life is you've got to be tenacious. And I
think actually,
because it'll dovetail nicely into the brand.
I think as well, to be honest, now that I'm learning because sometimes you do pull me up on what I'm good at. I think that tenacity is a very sellable thing that I can teach people how I did it, because all tenacity really means, and you taught me, not everybody has this, and I do as a skill. So it's just a skill, like learning to cook. So I can teach how that mindset, it's a mindset, how to get from A to B when you have struggles.
Yeah, and I think
That bit I can do.
This conversation has helped you understand what tenacity is. I think tenacity is about having a big, hairy goal at one end, but using mini goals to keep going, to keep the momentum, to keep the movement going, and just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And if you have a big goal and it goes wrong, you kind of lost everything. But if you've got a big, hairy goal at the end, but you've structured it into mini goals, you can do a mini goal, and if you don't quite reach it, it doesn't affect the whole journey. It just affects, and
Absolutely.
that allows you to be, and you should keep. And every day you're going to come up and say, right, I'm going again. And it's if you're training from a race, and there's loads of films about it. If you're training for a race and it's pissing with rain and you feel rotten and everything, you get up, you put your running shoes on, and you go running, and that's what would be called tenacious. But in your world, it's about navigating the fact that at any time the chemicals can suddenly affect your mental health. So what you do is you keep momentum going, so that when you're okay, when you're in,
then I can pick it up again.
And you can pick it up again.
Absolutely.
Because mini goals, it's not big goals.
Absolutely.
You just slammed a bit of time into one goal and the next one rather. Whereas actually if you're on a big goal and you stop it, people say, well, and they all disappear and go and leave you because they think you're useless and all that sort of thing. That hasn't happened, because what I think over the years we've done is we've worked on the little improvements with some sense of what the big picture looks like.
Yes.
So I think you could construct a nice answer to the advice you give to your younger self is be tenacious. Recognise that it's a journey and break the journey out into little chunks. Just keep doing the little chunks in spite of whatever you are. People will tell you you're a woman, that you're black, that you're this, that you're that you've got bipolar, and that you've got mental health, and your English teacher will say you'll never be able to use English, and people will say you'll never be able to network and all that sort of thing. And all you've got to do is just say, hold on, okay, I understand you don't think that about me now, but if I learn to speak, then I go. If I learn to network, do this, go network, blah blah. Watch people in the letters. All of that's you add in, and that's being tenacious. That's going out, because actually what you want to do is turn around and stick the middle finger up to these people and say, you know what, you thought this about me, but you were way, way wrong. And not only way wrong, I'm now one of the best at doing this because you were way wrong and you've inspired me to do that. And I know that's how I feel about some things. Okay, what challenge?
Two challenges, really. And this is not because of coronavirus. I had challenged myself from Christmas to transfer all my networking knowledge online.
Yep.
So that new journey was from Christmas, and I did it in a different way with the small goals. So all my networking knowledge, all my speaker engagements, all my training, everything that's in my brain now, at Christmas time, I wanted it to be online. You pay your own fee. Anybody around the world, they can take the networking training in their own time, morning, noon and night, and access it. That was the online goal and vision I had. And that's coming along nicely. The goal that I had to reinforce to help me along the way and keep me tenacious, probably the tenacity, to become a fully online networking business, because I also wanted to reduce my hours a bit. And the tool that I wanted to use as the center was podcasting.
Yeah.
And then as a speaker, I actually didn't realize how good I was at a podcast.
Yeah.
So I tested it with my networking podcast, which was really easy for me to do.
Yeah.
Then I trialed it with my mental health. So there'll be a mental health podcast that will be coming out. And the mental health podcast fuels my role as a mental health niche speaker, niche in mental health. So that's my continued journey that I'd like to do. So I would definitely like to do and continue more speaking engagements and less of the face-to-face training. They can access that online and allow me to pick and choose my speaker engagements and maybe do them more frequently and more exclusively, like twice a quarter or something like that.
Okay, and I get that from your personal point of view. How would you want to make a difference to other people?
I think I'm a bit more passionate right now about my mental health journey.
Yeah.
Because the world, unfortunately, is taking more of a turn than how the world is more challenged anyway.
Yeah.
And I made this decision, especially when COVID got worse and the lockdown in March. And it did sadden me because the moment it happened, I knew there were going to be so many people, and it saddens me now, who have never had a mental health problem before. And you know what? Even some people who have had judgment and stigma about mental health, people laughed at other people. There were going to be so many, and maybe some of those people that are going to experience some mental health
themselves, yeah.
And they won't even know because they don't know the symptoms.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to do to help others is really elevate my speaker role as a mental health niche speaker for mental health, to make them aware the symptoms. That's the most important things, because when I was growing up with friends, there were so many things that were happening to me then that are still the symptoms now, that you can go to the World Health Organization website that will list depression. And I had a lot of those symptoms at that time, which is part of bipolar. So I want to create more awareness that, you know, when you feel like this is symptoms of a mental health, more depression and bipolar, because that's what I have, and I can talk about that. And should you have any of these on the list, seek help, go to the doctor, because what I would love is for another person to get help early rather than me waiting so long when I was a teenager and didn't know and didn't get help and get my diagnosis until I was 30. So that's the movement I would wish to really turn into a dream.
And for that reason, I understand why this interview is about inspirational women, because if you can demonstrate the fact that it is possible to have a great life. Absolutely,
that's the other thing.
But carry with it a real, it would not have been easy. Yeah, and I get that. I will get that. But actually, we have worked very, very carefully around trying to make you have a great life.
Absolutely.
Allowing you to live the dream of being a businesswoman.
Absolutely, and still have a good life. And I think when it comes to women, what I am a bit passionate with women is the statistics are higher for women to have a mental health illness. That is a statistic, and I fall into that statistic. So for women, what I would like to promote for women, because we are now more career focused, we are now business entrepreneur focused, is to look after ourselves more, look after our mental health, and be more mental health fitter, increase our mental health fitness, so that we still can elevate and achieve our career goals, our business goals. So let's be inspiring. You can be inspiring, but do that balanced by looking after yourself, because you won't be able to excel if your mental health isn't fit. So you need to balance the two, and then you can be as great and excel and be even more wonderful than you already are.
Yeah, and I hear that. I look at other statistics. Suicide is the biggest killer of men under 40. It outstrips everything.
Sorry.
And if you think about that, that's a mental health thing. That people who take their own lives, whereas I think women are much stronger, strangely enough, and therefore are less. Are equally. I think you're right. Being cooped up at home now is going to be a challenge.
Absolutely, and depression.
So I accept the focus on women, but then the problem with that is it lends itself to the equality story, rather than saying actually your job is to help everybody with mental health, whoever they are, whatever they are, wherever they come from. Doesn't matter whether they're poor or rich or anything like that. Actually, I think the inspiration it should be universal.
It's for everybody. Everybody should, and even.
So don't get dragged into the I want women to be.
Oh, I agree because
that will subscribe to the gender.
No,
equality.
I agree because personally as well. You know, with my networking, I've met everybody from all walks of life, and the people. This is about the non-judgmental, and I've been saying it before. Don't keep thinking that these CEOs. I know people in Parliament.
I listen everywhere.
And they have got sometimes more mental health pressures than we could imagine.
High up in music, high up in the. Actually, what might be more better for you to say is I want to support creative people, because creative people are the ones that are on the spectrum. They may not have the condition, but if you look at the news is always full of the Amy Winehouses and the people and all those sorts of things. These people are
Mariah Carey.
There's all sorts of Britney Spears. All these people who are very high up in the arts. So maybe you could go very specific on saying, actually, because I have this creative side to me, I'm very empathetic to people who are creative, and being creative is not something that's specific to any colour, creed, sex, or anything. People are creative, so maybe that's where.
Hold on 1 second, Mummy Jam. 1 second.
No worries.
Oh gosh, Mummy Jam, you can come up and get ready in your bed. It's fine. Yeah, you can come up and get ready. I tell you, I'm all messed up. I keep thinking that it was Thursday. It's something.
It's Friday. Okay, listen, you'll be shocked to know that we are now full. The questions are now complete.
Oh my God, thank you. Because I was looking at the time and I was kept you. Oh, great, you did. How many questions were there?
There are 9.
Oh, okay, good. And I've answered all of them.
You've answered all of them. I've asked all of them.
Okay, good.
So, with a bit of luck, if you transcribe what you've got, you'll have, a good setup for the questions. But more importantly, the book thing that we talked about.
Yeah. And I'll use some of the content for the YouTube and probably some of it for the podcasting.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever works.
Oh, thank you. You made me so comfortable. Oh my God.
Good. You were really good. You were
really
good. You were never lost for words, which is cool because
I did stumble a bit on the female bit, innit?
Did,
God, when you asked me, flipping
what
was it? I can't even remember the question now. Oh God!
I knew. I didn't want to ask.
What is it? Something about what would you say to them if they're getting their careers and they're female?
If you could change one thing to accelerate the pace of change for gender equality, what would it be?
I don't even know what gender. I need to start being a bit more. I don't even know what gender. I need to get that word on YouTube.
I don't know where rightly so. To be fair, women are treated exactly the same as men. But I think it's too small. You see, I think gender is too small because it ignores. I told you about my thing at the Guild of Entrepreneurs. We were asked to sign by the Guildhall a commitment to gender equality and
Yeah.
racial equality, and there was no sexual equality. There was no, one of our the whole guild was founded by somebody who was gay, so that wasn't even included in that thing. And everybody said, "Oh yeah, we'll get the sign." And I just sat there and I thought, "Oh, can I say anything? Can I say anything?" And I go, "Okay, I'm going to have to say
It's
something."
really hard, and the thing I don't like, it's such a social, delicate topic. You have to be so careful who you speak to, because even like the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone, a friend, colleague, and so we were talking about the marching.
Yes.
And there was one, everybody must have got this text. Everybody got the text about going. And the only reason he couldn't go, something to do with his family, he couldn't go.
Right.
So he must have just said, "Am I going?" And I said, "No, I'm not." "Oh, why aren't you going? Why aren't you going to March?" I would go because but I've only got to do something with my family. I'll be there. I said, I said, and it's very.
Well, as you know, I carried the Black Lives Matter logo on my email.
Yeah, that's.
And then I saw, because I'm quite passionate about it. And then I saw that it was being taken over by very left-wing people, and I removed the logo immediately because it was my intention was not political.
No, you were doing it for your own
stream of consciousness. I think we need stream of consciousness, but I don't. So when football players take the knee, I like that because it maintains the, so I like that, and there's,
I just think, because I do my own thing in a different way.
Yeah.
But for me, that it's
But it became very politicised very quickly.
Yeah, and it's been
very uncomfortable.
And there's been a lot now talk that a lot of the multinational brands are trying to say, there's been a lot, we're now black, I don't even know the terminology, we're now black focused, we're supporting black thing.
Yes, and I don't think.
And there's some of the reasons they were saying that, particularly when it was the march, is because they didn't want their buildings to be trashed. And then somebody said, well, now you're saying you're black focused and you're swimmer, but on your board, I can't see people like me. So it was like some of them are saying it just for branding and marketing purposes.
Yeah, but also the problem with it at all is if you say I am now black focused,
I don't even know what that means.
It needs to be words before.
Exactly.
And it also means that you consider blacks to be disadvantaged.
Exactly.
So it doesn't work at any level for me to say that.
Or you're now or the other one. Have you seen the new ones? Recruitment. We're now hiring more black people.
Well, that's then a different type of bias, which so it doesn't solve the problem. It sort of moves the problem from one place to another. I get very, very intellectually confused.
Yeah, I do. I'm getting.
And then I worry that am I actually, there's some phrase for it, which is actually really I'm a racist because I ignore the fact that race is a problem. And I go, no, hold on, wait a minute. No, what I want is for it to not be in the conversation. I just want it to say, I don't give a flying stuff who or what you are. Are you any good at what you do? Are you the best person for the job? Please come and get on and do the job and be the best person for the job.
Because what if they now increase their recruitment and employees by, 3-4%? So you get all of these black people in white, Asian, whoever falls in BAME, and then they can't do the job.
Well, by the very nature of it, it suggests that they are changing their standards in order to let in a higher percentage of BAME people. What? No. If you're, in football they say if you're good enough, you're old enough. So sometimes they say we're fielding a 16-year-old. You go, okay, he's playing in the first team because he's a good footballer. Doesn't matter about his age. Yeah, all right. Does he have 10 years of experience and all the fouls? Is he going to make lots of mistakes? Yes, he is. But that's the deal. He hasn't got the experience. He's a bloody good footballer. Put him on the pitch. And, and that's how it should be. And therefore, the moment you start talking, and I get very uncomfortable saying, accelerate the pace of change for gender equality. What does that mean? Let's just assume gender equality. Let's just assume it. I think it's wrong that Serena Williams does not as much prize money as one of the male players.
Oh, yeah.